All right, so we're in my kitchen, which is kind of an odd place to be doing this video, but it's a great counter space and the lighting in here is good. So anyhow, that's why we're in the kitchen. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to be explaining just a very, very basic trolling setup if you're going to be targeting salmon on the kayak, or even lingcod. You can catch lingcod on the troll. It's a setup that I use. Now, it might not be the best setup. I'm sure there's better equipment and there's other systems out there that are better than the one I'm about to explain to you, but this is what works for me, and I've been able to catch quite a few fish based on these very, very basic principles on when you're trolling for fish on a kayak. So this is kind of the layout, and then I'm just going to explain what every piece is. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go out on the water tonight, and we're going to get everything in place, and I'm just going to walk you guys through exactly what I'm doing, how to set it up, and what's happening when the fish are biting, and why the system, like I said, works for me, and kind of what to do when you're out there on the kayak when you hook yourselves onto a particularly a salmon. Okay, here we go. So step one, very basic lake troller is what I have. Again, there are other systems in play that you can buy, more expensive systems, but this is the one that I have, and it's been working for me just fine. So this is a Scotty lake troller. You can pick it up at Cabela's or any Canadian Tire or what have you. So it's got 100 feet of steel braid, and it's attached to a Scotty mount that goes into the rail system on my Hobie and my Old Town kayak. Then what you need to buy that goes with it, because I upgraded to a larger size clip. This does come with a lake clip, but I found it was too small and the line just kept coming off whenever it hit current. So you want to get yourself a nice sturdy clip, the one that they use on boats, and that's what I use and attach to my lake troller. So it just basically attaches to this little piece here. Okay, so that's that. So that's two pieces. The third piece that you need to buy is a 4-pound ball. 4 pounds is as heavy as you want to go with this lake troller. I did try a 5-pound ball. Honestly, it was just too heavy. It was it almost came out of the railing, and it was just too much for the little spool to manipulate. So go with the 4 pounds. That's as heavy as it can capacitate. I would highly recommend that's where you want to go. Get a good rod holder, and I set up my rod holder straight up and down, and I'll explain that once we're out on the water, but that's what my rod holder setup is going to look like. I use this when I'm on the Old Town. On the Hobie, it's totally different, because on my Hobie, it actually has rod holder mounts built into the kayak, which is really nice. But the straight up and down angle, which brings the line down at a 45 degrees, is the reason why I go straight up and down. And like I said, I'll explain that later on. Then you want to pick yourself up a flasher with a spoon. This is a Gibbs flasher with a Gibbs spoon. The reason why I'm showing you guys this one, it's a no bananas pattern, is because this one has been lights out on the water for me and my buddies. We use this, and we've caught some, I don't know what it is, but we've caught some really big fish on this pattern. The other thing that we ended up doing is sometimes I'll put scent on the back, or I'll bend the spoon. This isn't a factory bend. I actually bent that myself and just kind of messed around with it. I've got 2 other no bananas lures, and they're all kind of bent differently, and it just gives a different flutter pattern when it's following behind the flasher. Okay, and then lastly, super important, and I recently just picked this up. I was just fishing off a bait caster, but go and get yourself, if you got the ability to go and get yourself a proper trolling reel and a trolling rod. This is a 9-foot rod. This is made by Amundsen, and this one is fairly inexpensive compared to others. I picked this one up for 250 bucks. Islander reels, even Amundsen, you can get reels up to anywhere up to $1,000. You don't really need that. I wouldn't recommend it on the kayak. The reason why is, being on the kayak, you're more susceptible to dropping your gear in the water than you are with a boat. And trust me guys, I've done it a couple times, and it is heartbreaking when you lose gear in the water, because on a kayak it's a whole different experience. There's a lot going on all at once, especially when you land a fish. And then on the end of your rod, super important, put a bead on along with the here we got a swivel with a snap on the end. Okay, again, I'll explain that once we get on the water as well. And I've got it hooked into a 25-pound leader, and then on my main line it's actually only 20 pounds. I think I might have done it reverse. I think this should be 25 pounds and my leader should be 20. I don't know. Anyways, I just went with it, the recommended at the store. So this is kind of it. It's super basic. And what we'll do is later on tonight for last light, what I'm hoping to do is get onto a big Chinook salmon. My goal tonight is to hopefully get a 15 to 20 pound salmon on the troll. Fishing has been really good out in Hammond Bay here in Nanaimo. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping to do. And once I'm out there and I get it all set up, I'll explain to you guys on the kayak where the placement is and why the placement should be, why I like to have it customize my everything on the left side. And then we'll apply all that stuff to when we're out there fishing tonight, and fingers crossed we get onto something. All right, see you guys on the water. All right guys, so we're here at the beach. We're about to launch. So what I'm gonna do is I just want to walk you through kind of the setup here that I've got on the Hobie. So looking down at the cockpit, you're gonna see that the lake troller is on the left side, and the port where the rod goes in is on the left side as well. And the reason for that is that when I get a fish on, I like to have my reel reeling with my dominant hand on top. So it's kind of like I'm holding the rod like I would be holding an electric guitar or a guitar, right? And you're just strumming, you're just reeling that for dear life, hoping that fish stays on. The other thing too, just a tip for you, and I've learned through mistake and error, is because I'm running the Scotty lake troller, which has got a short arm, you want to keep this backside of your kayak completely free of any obstructions. You're going to see I've got nothing hanging over the edge, and the reason for that is especially salmon, coho, they're erratic, they'll go back and forth. So if you have anything here, that line is going to go up and down, and it's going to get caught up on stuff along the backside. So I moved all my net and my rod on the right side. The other thing too is I really you're going to notice my setup here is really basic. I don't have a lot of stuff, just my box with tackle, net, the one rod for jigging. I've just got a rod holder for jigging there, and the engine and the flag. I don't have a whole lot of stuff. I like to keep it clean, because what I find is when you're fighting a fish with all the stuff that you might have extra attached to it, it just becomes a hot mess. Lines get tangled up and you start losing stuff, and it's just easier when you with the less stuff that you have. That's just the way I have it set up. All right, let's get on the water, and you've had a little bit of an idea what the cockpit looks like. Let's get out there and set up for trolling. What I am gonna do too is I'm gonna do a walkthrough of this Hobie kayak versus the Old Town kayak that I have. I'm having a tendency to use this one more often when trolling, especially when trolling. And the main reason why, I'll just quickly show you, is that they're steering on both sides. It's ambidextrous. So both sides, left and right, I can steer. Small detail, but it is super important when it comes to fighting a fish from this position, because you're kind of like manipulating all these different things, and to be able to steer, because sometimes what will happen is, like on a really big fish, is that it'll actually start to pull the boat to the left. So I can counteract that by using my right hand to steer and keep it straight. So that's one of the benefits of having the Hobie versus the Old Towners. Okay, so first thing we'll do, order of business, is we will attach our cannonball to the downrigger. Just like this. Okay, and then I just drop it in the cup holder, just like that for now. And then next step is loosen the tension on my mooching reel. Put it on the front of the boat. Grab some line. And then I'm going to attach my weapon of choice. And let's just start off the night with the good old trusty no bananas. So this is on a 7-foot leader from the flasher. Snap swivel onto the flasher, such. And you remember how I was talking earlier about the bead? It's really important to have that bead, here it is, on the swivel, because when you're reeling up really fast, sometimes if you go too fast, you'll end up smashing the swivel into the rod tip, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to break your rod tip. So this bead helps eliminate that. So it acts as basically a stopper. So that's why I put that on there. Okay, now the flasher is in the water. So what we are going to do now is just give it a bit of forward momentum. Forward momentum. I strip about 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Back there about 7, 8 feet. 8. Rod tip, or sorry, bottom of the rod on the tip of the boat, and then reach back. Grab some line and attach it to the clip, such. Okay, good. All right, keep that forward momentum going. Throw my rod in the rod holder, just like that. Perfect. Okay, drop my cannonball, and then there's a little knob here. See, now you can see why it's good to have 2 steering areas, like here on the right. So I'm basically controlling the downrigger with my left, and I can still steer with my right. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower the spool, which is gonna drop the line. And what I'll do is I'm just going to keep my hand, just cradle it in my hand to the desired depth. So I'm going to go right to 100 feet, which is the end of the spool. There we go. Tighten that up. Okay, and then see it here. Now what I'm doing is I'm tightening the tension on my rod. Have it reel. There we go. And I like to just kind of spin it 10 times. $15 times. There, it gives it that nice, perfect angle I'm looking for. So anywhere from 10 to 15, depending on the current. There's not much current today, so that's a nice angle that I have on the line, going straight down. You guys can see that. Not much current today. You can see a beautiful angle of the downrigger right now. So yeah, so that's it. So we are officially fishing, yeah, just cruise along here, drink some water, and enjoy the sights and sounds, and hopefully we get on to something. All right. All right, so you can see Oh, that's a good fish. Pulling. That's a good fish. Gonna lean over. Tension on. Tell he's over undersized, but here you go. Trolling 101. Good hook. Took a while to get a fish, but I kind of jigged for a bit, but this is kind of the hour now. He called it the golden hour. So anyways, nice little Chinook. Oh, and he's off. Perfect. Perfect release. Didn't even have to touch him. Well, you can see, like, when you get a fish on, there's just a lot happening, right? And to have it in that position, it's really comfortable for me. So anyhow, hopefully that was a somewhat of an informative video, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. All right.